Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, we are going to look at some tweets and other social media posts that were either very shocking to me or that made me cry. Now you might be thinking, girl, why are you crying over some tweets? I can't help it, okay? When I read something that my brain can't process, the frustration comes out in the form of tears. There's nothing I can do about it. But today I'm going to show you some of those tweets so you can experience maybe some of what I felt when I first read them. The general theme of these posts is health and obesity, but there's some other stuff thrown in here and there. So let's start. There's been a new rhetoric around the pandemic regarding younger people being hospitalized now, and that is why we should be caring about the variants, following protocols, not mouth breathing on strangers in grocery stores. To be honest, I find this disturbing. So much of the pandemic has been framing elderly, disabled, chronically ill, and fat people as disposable. If you're just now taking the virus seriously because younger, able-bodied people are now being hospitalized, you need to take several moments of reflection. From day one, this virus should have been horrifying to you because it disproportionately was, and it is still killing one part of the population. At the time, elderly people and people with underlying health conditions. These are humans. One thing this entire pandemic has highlighted is the actual deep-seated pervasiveness of health and race-based eugenics. Young, able-bodied white folks are okay with old people dying, people of color dying, fat people dying, chronically ill people dying, disabled people dying. Don't for one second think this is separate from settler colonialism, capitalism, and systemic white supremacy. The collective obsession with youth and health is entrenched in these things. Young able bodies are the workforce. Buy things, create nuclear family units. Health is a social construct used to police othered bodies. Black and indigenous people, fat people, disabled people, elderly people, neurodiverse people. What if I told you that being healthy doesn't exist? If your entire being is centered upon being healthy, what are you perpetuating? How are you defining that? Is it based on the gym? On weight? On what you eat? If someone who doesn't look like you does the same things you do you consider them healthy? We can't be soulless. A year into this pandemic, we have lost so many and so much that we now start to worry because young, able-bodied people are being impacted. If you're just now scared, where have you been in the past 12 months? So this thread started out coherent enough, but it took a massive turn right here in the middle. Health is a social construct? No, that's not true. There's variability in what is considered health, but there are objective measurements of health. And how has health been used to police other people's bodies? I honestly want an explanation for that statement because I don't understand it at all. Some people may have limited access to medical care, but that's not policing people based on health. And she also asked, if your entire being is centered upon being healthy, what are you perpetuating? Well, I'm glad you asked. I'm perpetuating the idea that self-love comes from taking care of myself. I'm also upholding my own expectation that I owe health to the people in my life that I care about and my own community. And I'm perpetuating the idea that mental health and social connection and physical health are all related because my mental health absolutely suffers when my physical health goes downhill. Those are the ideas that I'm perpetuating and upholding by centering my life around being healthy. But this entire middle section is so incoherent that when I first read it, I couldn't process it at all. I was like, why is health a social construct? And why is it white supremacist? And why was the nuclear family brought into this? What is she saying? And this entire middle section about health is a social construct is not only wrong because there are objective measures of health, but it also doesn't make sense with the rest of the thread. Earlier, she uses the term chronically ill, which is just a way of saying people that have chronically poor health. But then she also says that health is a social construct that doesn't exist. Right after, she uses the phrase people with underlying health conditions. How can you say that there are groups of people with poor health that we should help protect, and then 40 words later say that health doesn't exist and we should stop striving for it? So if health is a construct, then are all of these underlying conditions fake? Are these people mythical? I feel like this logic could very easily turn into a conspiracy, because if health is a construct, then elderly people and the chronically ill and fat people and all the other people mentioned aren't at more risk for dying from a virus, because if health doesn't exist and it's all a myth, then why are we trying to protect anyone? You know, everything else said in this thread is undermined by the simple idea that health doesn't exist. And what's so crazy is that we've gotten to a point where people are trying to guilt other people for wanting to be healthy. That's what this question of what are you perpetuating by trying to be healthy is. It's a way of guilting people for wanting to be healthy. That is crazy. Our health, in all respects, should be near the top of our priorities for everyone. The fact that people are trying to make caring about your physical health discriminatory or ableist is mind-blowing. And it's becoming more common for people who are trying to be extra progressive and supposed allies for disabled people to start saying things like the pursuit of health is ableist, like all disabled people are inherently unhealthy or can't still pursue health even with their disability. And what also blows my mind about this rhetoric is that it goes directly against what the original principles of health at every size were, which is practicing healthy habits no matter what size you are. I get comments all the time of people saying that the fat activists I cover in my videos aren't telling people to be unhealthy, and I'm just misrepresenting what they're saying. They are just trying to get people to focus more on healthy habits and not just weight. But then there are countless instances of fat activists and haes supporters like this woman basically calling people ableist for wanting to engage in healthy habits. So pick one. If health at every size really is about practicing healthy habits at every size, then you can't guilt people or shame people or try to actively deter people from trying to develop healthy habits, like going to the gym and eating less junk food. This tweet thread is basically saying that people who try to pursue health are trying to uphold a negative social construct, and that in and of itself is a form of discrimination. But it isn't perpetuating unhealthy ideas or ableism or diet culture to want to be healthy. Okay, let's go on to the next thread. This thread is about how being fat is not unhealthy, but I'm not even sure if that's what it means. You'll see when we read it. Fatness is not extra to our bodies. Fatness is part of our bodies. Fatness is part of ourselves. One shouted protest of this philosophy. Fatness can change in amount or shape over time. How could it be a true part of us if it can change? Other body aspects change too, my love. People get more or less hairy over time. People get taller over time. People start as babies. People lose body parts in myriad ways. People grow skin and cartilage. Skin and hair changes texture, sometimes repeatedly in a lifetime. The assertion that fatness is somehow different from these other things is pure 100% fatphobia. Nothing else. Your fat is part of your body. It is part of your body. It's you. If that makes you uneasy, come join fat politics. The root of such uneasiness is nothing inherent in the universe, and it's nothing inherent in your heart. It's not even personal to you. It comes from desirability politics and oppressive values. It comes from culture. I don't support intentional weight loss. It's overwhelmingly non-possible and causes massive harm. I understand that sometimes people must try it anyway, because critical things are held for ransom. I may support those people. I may also need to not hear about the intentional weight loss. When weight loss or gain is unintentional, I feel neutral about it. As for how you talk about it, if you talk about it, run that through a fat poll filter before proceeding. Okay. I have a lot of thoughts on this. The entire justification of why being fat isn't wrong is that fatness isn't extra, but a part of you, so it can't be unhealthy or wrong. But it could also be both. There's this entire section about hair and skin texture all being a part of you. Yeah, but having extra hair on your body could also mean there's a medical problem, while that hair is also still technically a part of you. And same with skin texture. You could have acne or eczema, and that skin is still definitely a part of you, but from a health perspective, it still isn't healthy. Just because something is in your body or attached to your body doesn't mean it should be there. Have you ever heard of cancer? And there's also this section about how he will support some people doing intentional weight loss as long as their words are put through a fat pull filter, which I don't really understand what a fat pull... Wait. Is that fat politics? Oh. Either way, why do I have a feeling that absolutely anything someone says about intentional weight loss would set this person's fat pull radar to overload? Also, not wanting to be fat doesn't solely come from desirability politics and oppressive values. Losing weight could improve the health of so many people, and refusing to acknowledge that by saying that weight loss is only about desirability politics, therefore you can't support anyone that is upholding oppressive values, is just a way of insulating yourself from your own negative feelings about being fat, and curating the people in your life in a way that they will never challenge those beliefs. I have had so many people message me saying that they have lost friends and family because of their intentional weight loss efforts, because those people said that their weight loss was bringing negative energy into their lives or was offensive to them, which is honestly some cult-like shit. To cut out anyone whose lifestyle contradicts your own? Why? Next tweet. Really tired of rampant fatphobia in the furry community, but nobody is ready for that conversation yet. This tweet took me off guard. I was not ready for it. Mainly because it's a topic I never thought out thoroughly. So furry fatphobia is new to me. And also, who's being fat shamed? Furries wear those fur suits, right? So are people being shamed for having fat furry suits? Because once someone's inside the suit, you can't tell their size. So people would have to be being fatphobic towards the costumes. So does that mean you're discouraged from having a fat furry suit? And in that case, they're being fatphobic towards a costume and not the person, which is interesting and also leads to more questions. Like, what constitutes a fat furry suit? Or is the fatphobia towards the person wearing the suit? Like, without the suit on? And if that's the case, how is that any different than normal fatphobia? And does this have anything to do with the growing number of people saying that vets are fat-shaming their pets by saying that obesity in animals is unhealthy? Does this all go full circle back to the furry community? I have so many questions. I know the person who wrote this tweet said that the world isn't ready for this conversation, but I am. I need to know what this fatphobia in the furry community is. I need answers. So please get back to me. Anyway, that's the end of the video. I just really wanted some people to see these tweets because they gave me a lot of entertainment and frustration, and I wanted you to see them too. So that's it, and I will see you in my next video.